Welcome back to the podcast. We're here.
This is gonna be the one, dude. Like
This is
if
gonna
this
be
podcast blows up, like this is the one that like this was the benchmark right here.
controversy creates cash, and here we are today. It's a Wednesday. We're recording this. We're watching AEW as we speak. So if Wardlow wins this in the next
Battle
couple of
Royal
minutes,
Al. We have
yeah.
Ward MJF in the ring
Oh,
right now.
MJF just attacked Wardlow. Anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. Basically, I was sitting here working on some stuff, and got wrestling in the background, and I just randomly said to Justin, I was like, wrestling is fake, right? Because Justin's on this kick of buying figures, making me on this kick of buying figures, and we're like, why are we buying this? Why are we doing this? And I said, it's
Hey,
fake.
if I look through the year from now and you're not collecting figures, what are you doing? Sell everything you bought last year.
Future you problem. So, and then I was like, wrestling's fake, right? He was like, yeah. And I was like, they have cables. And he popped on the fact that, like I said, they have cables. And I was telling him how, um, like that was one of the things that people used to say to me, that they had cable, like they used cables to jump. And so I told him a story that I was a freshman in high school, and like during a class, like I went to my locker to get something, and I had a John Cena shirt that I wore that day because like I'm a freshman in high school, like I get it, like it's a joke at that point. It was really kind of like taken off, like with like my friends, like we're all into wrestling. Um, the like we were friends. Well, I had like Tommy as like a big wrestling friend. At that point, he introduced me to Michael Linder, so obviously he was like a big wrestling friend. Like we had like our group, and that was when I was like getting into like the internet. So like wearing a Cena shirt to school, it's like a funny thing. Like I would always talk about how it's not that big of a deal, like to wear wrestling shirts to school. Like who cares what other people think, kind of thing. So I was standing at my locker wearing my blatant John Cena shirt. It might have even been the red one, Jungle Boy one, by the way. Spoiler alert. It might, it might have been like the
I'm
red.
behind 30 seconds, dude.
Um, and like I was saying, how this kid walked by, and he was in my grade, and he looked at my shirt. And he was like, wrestling is fake, right?" And I was like, in my head, I was like, okay, well, this is a wrestling shirt because it's like, like you don't know that, like, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, I know that that it's a wrestling shirt, and you're telling me that, and I'm like, yeah. He just walks. He's like, okay, and he walks away, and I was like, hold on, like, hold on. So then we got into this like talk about what is like the craziest, things that people have said to you. And then now that like I feel like now if someone says that, it's just like a meme because like for me personally, so like that happened freshman year of high school. By senior year of high school, if someone told me that, it was either like a joke from one of my friends, it was either a joke from someone who like I knew in a class, and like me and Tommy had this one friend in our graphics class senior year where he would just like at random times, like me and Tommy would be talking about wrestling, and he'd pop his head in between our computers and be like, WWE is fake. And like that was just like it got a pop out of us every time. So if I heard that, like it was a joke, like everybody knew that I was the wrestling guy at that point. So everybody knew that they can like joke around with me with it, and like, hey, it's fake, right? It's like, yeah. So Justin, what's like, I mean, we can go all day on this, I think. What is it
I've
like?
like I've grown up wrestling's fake. I've grown up. Oh, you're wearing guys on your t-shirts. Oh my God, they're like half naked, dude. I've gotten it all. Like I've gotten it where wrestling's the worst hated thing, and then I come to school one day and everyone's talking about Royal Rumble 2004 doing Triple H and Shawn Michaels. I'm like, when the fuck did you guys start watching wrestling? You guys made fun of me like last year. Then I've gone from like made fun of like the weird kid watching wrestling to the most popular kid in the school because I know everything about everything. Like it doesn't make any sense. Like I literally remember transfer schools and it was like, oh, you like what do you like? I'm like, oh, I watched WrestleMania 20, and everyone's like, what? You like wrestling? And then like I was popular. Everyone loved me at that school. It was
Mm-hmm.
like weird, right?
Yeah.
And then like I moved to another school and people find out, they make fun of me, make fun of my shirt. At the beginning of 8th grade and at the end of 8th grade, everyone was watching it and playing the video games. I'm like,
Jeez.
pick a side, dude.
So what
Like
year was this? So like what year did like
oh
you
six,
start?
like
Oh,
'05. When it
oh,
was no, what is it? '05. I'm wearing a wrestling shirt, and
yeah.
by the end of mid '06, everyone loves wrestling for some reason. At the end of grade eight, I'm like, what?
So this
I
is
thought you
like
hated
this isn't
this.
even like the Attitude Era. This is just like the John
No, no,
Cena
no.
era.
This is Cena. This is Cena era.
Wow, that's
And
crazy.
then yeah, the Benoit when Benoit won the title, Guerrero era.
Hmm.
Yeah. Like it's
Wow.
so weird. Like what a flip flop. Like I go to high school and like people like some be like, oh, you watch wrestling, and then sometimes I had my like couple wrestling friends. Like when you meet people at school and you find out you
Oh,
watch wrestling,
dude.
and that's like you've like hit like a good friend level in like a span of 20 minutes. Like that's like your close friend already. Like you already have that connection with them.
Let me tell you, like, so in fourth grade, um, okay, so third grade for me was like all about the White Sox because like they were really good that year, and like everybody, like I would wear my White Sox jersey legitimately every day. It made me think how many times I watched that thing. Now that I think about it, but anyway, so fourth grade was really the year, which I don't remember what year that would have been. That would have been 2006. So yeah, 2006. There we go, full circle. So I had like three friends, one that was like one that like really didn't like, he knew wrestling but he wasn't like a big fan, and there was two that were like there was one that was a really big fan and one that was like a fan. So the one that was just a fan, he was a big fan of Bobby Lashley, and when Bobby Lashley returned to WWE a couple years ago, I think I tweeted, I was like I had a friend that was like a huge fan of Bobby Lashley. I wonder what he's doing right now. He went to WrestleMania 23, I think, um, just to see Bobby Lashley, and he told me about it, and it was like great. So that was like pretty cool. But then the other friend that was like a huge fan, so he like him and I, we had these like cubbies, and they were like our own little sections, and so we would go back and forth and like print out like pictures of different wrestlers, and like we would tape them in front of our cubbies, and um, so basically the um, what am I saying? Like so the cubby, like if you block it, like you can't get your stuff and it's hard to get out. So at some point, the teacher pulled us aside and was like you've got too many like wrestling pictures on there. Like maybe go down to like just a few. And now for anyone else, that would be like, wow, like the teacher doesn't get it, like she's being mean, whatever. But the teacher's like husband at the time was a huge wrestling fan to the point that he bought WrestleMania 23, and my friend brought the DVD in to show the teacher, and we had this talk where like the teacher said, "Oh yeah, like my husband bought that. He's a big wrestling fan." And like, I mean, like that was the peak of like me as like like not the peak, but that was the beginning, because we had like us four and one other person, I think, um, on the playground at recess. We had like a basketball team where we would play people, and we called ourselves the WrestleManiacs. And I made like a logo and paint for it. And I mean, like that started this huge obsession for me. And like like I said, like that was 2006, 2007 time when like I really got into it. Um, like because like it's just like that was like the main time for me. And then fast forward to sixth grade, and there was like I think that because there was one person in particular that he would always wear that Jeff Hardy shirt, with the face, like like in 2008, that
Let's
Jeff
go in
Hardy
the
shirt
dark.
with the
Let's go
face that
glow in
he's
the
like
dark.
sideways.
Oh yeah, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that
Yeah, like
cartoon.
yeah, it's like a blue, like a light blue and a purple. I can picture it in my head. He always used to wear that. We'd always talk about wrestling, and that was like a big thing. Um, and then like I didn't have many, like because that was sixth grade was the time where like the wrestling and the YouTube kind of like crossed, because that was when I started making YouTube videos with my friends that year. So that's when it was like, oh, like I can make wrestling videos, you know what I mean? So that's kind of like how it like crossed and spawned into like where we're at today. But then seventh grade, it like I mean it skyrocketed, because I don't know how, like I just like I knew like my friend Anthony, like because he was on my bus like the year prior, and or like in 5th grade or whatever. And his mom was a bus driver, and like I just started to hang out with him, and like all his friends were wrestling fans, and that's how I met Tommy, who was like a wrestling fan, and like that was the time where like TNA was like a big thing, and they would always shame me for watching Raw over TNA, and they would say, "Oh, TNA is going to be here forever, and Raw is gonna like WWE is gonna is so bad it's gonna go away. It's for kids." And I tried to watch like TNA, back in that time. And me and Tommy wore like our like he had the sweatshirt, I had the T-shirt of the DX like World's Biggest Member shirt, and we got made fun of like wearing that like all the time, dude. Like that was
So
the
you knew so many wrestling fans that other wrestling fans made fun of you for watching
no,
WWE. It's pretty
no,
funny
no, no.
at a young
Well,
age.
no, like we like they made fun of like they were the ones that like watched it when they were a kid and like grew out of it real fast, and they were like, "Oh, you like world's biggest member, like what a what a loser, whatever." Most of those kids, by the way, they got caught later that year for having weed in school. That was 7th grade, so that was fun.
Too young
But
though. Too young, Wait till high school.
well, yeah. So then, like, by high school, and especially like, sophomore year, I'd say it was the end, or like it was like the start of the end where I just like didn't care at all. And then junior year in high school, I was like, dude, like I like at that point, I found like the friends that I was gonna like, like I was gonna be with, and then that started like me like knowing other people outside, and then they were like, oh, like this is the wrestling guy, you know what I mean? And like every year, like people would come up to me or come up to Tommy and be like, man, like Undertaker won again, like it's crazy, or
Oh
like
man,
the one year that he
I have
lost.
about that, dude. Like it's like we're like I don't know. This is like a terrible way to phrase this, but we're out of the closet as wrestling fans. But then we have the undercover ones that like follow, but they don't follow, but don't know how to use the internet for some reason because
Hmm.
WWE.com exists and Google exists.
Yeah.
So like after WrestleMania, they'll come up to you and be like, "Hey, so WrestleMania was yesterday. Did Undertaker win?" I'm like, "Yeah, dude. Like why you
Yeah.
asking me? Like watch
Yeah.
Raw. A, B, use Google. We
Yeah.
got internet. This
Use
is
Google one time.
this is mid 2000s. You have a Facebook, and C, be louder."
Yeah, like I know, like there was like so many of those people. They were like, "Oh, um, yeah, like Undertaker." And then the one time that Undertaker did lose, like it was like a big day. It was a big day. What year was that? Was that 20? It was 2014.
14.
So that was like junior year into yeah junior year, where like people were just like, "Oh, like Undertaker actually lost." Like I was like, "Yeah, like how about that?" And it's just one of those. It's just like such a crazy thing, you know. Um,
So I have a terrible bit I'm trying to write about people telling me starting off I love wrestling
mhm.
and everyone why does everyone loves telling us that it's fake? Like we
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah,
Like like it's a shock. Like, okay, imagine you're a kid. No, I don't even know how to explain this.
yeah. Okay, imagine you're a kid watching
No.
Spider
Imagine
Man.
you have you have a kid and I'm watching wrestling and you tell me it's fake, right? Imagine I turn to your kid and be like, Santa Claus isn't really real, right? The
Okay,
tooth
well,
fairy, by the way, your parents actually
I mean,
your
let's
parents
just.
started that. And
I
by the
mean,
way, the love, parents don't really love each other. They're only sticking around because of you. You know that, right? Like imagine saying that to someone.
I
That's like
mean,
the majority of my bit, kind of.
the Tooth Fairy I knew about, but Santa Claus, you didn't have to spoil that for me just yet. But yeah, I mean, I know what you mean. Like it's one of those things where it's like I feel a lot of people today. Like, here's the thing. Like the internet is like it's a crazy beast. Not mad beast, but it's a crazy beast. And the fact that people are still like going back and forth about it, like, oh, it's fake, oh, it's not. It's like, guys, like we know what's going on. You're
It's
wasting
like
your time, and we're
having,
wasting our time at the same thing. Like, if you're still fighting with people on Twitter, if you're a wrestling fan and still fighting with people on Twitter, like you're wasting your time.
what I love to do? I love to act shocked. Like they were the person to break the news to me. Like for the first time, like it's fake, and then it's like start like fake crying or something,
Hmm.
and just be like, I didn't even know. Like, what do you mean? And then you start going on. You start listening. Like So when Undertaker shot lightning through his hands from the ceiling to the floor, that wasn't real. Like, and then you start
That's
listing all the like the worst, like the craziest things in the world. Like, like Kane doesn't shoot, like get pyro through the ring, like flames through the ring. I don't know. You could just keep going. I can't think
I
in my head right
wish
now.
I wish
And
I wish I had those
Big
comebacks.
Bully
Like
Mankind and Cactus Jack is actually the same person. Undertaker and Kane aren't really brothers.
I wish I had those like comebacks back in the day because that would be
Like,
a lot of fun. Like today, if someone's like, it's fake, right? And it's like, wait, is it really? Like no, it can't be. Like I would like go along, I'd go along
yeah,
with it, see what they would say.
yeah, you improv. You yes and did, and you one up them.
Yeah, and what was I gonna say? Um, oh, okay.
People make fun
So,
of us, and then people go to Comic-Con. It's the same
oh
thing.
yeah,
They think that's not that. People cried when Iron Man died, and
dude.
newsflash: Robert Downey Jr. is alive. Okay, he's fine.
God. Um, yeah. I mean, like, um, what was I gonna say? Like, it's just one of those things where I feel like they gotta tweet about it just so they know that like just so they could be heard. Because I remember that Young Bucks tweet, or like it was a Young Bucks like clip where they were in a match like in the Ring of Honor and they never touched each other. They went for drop kicks and they never touched each other, and that went around like a lot. I remember, but here's the other thing, and here's when it benefited me. Um, so back, how many years ago was it? Might have been a year ago, around a year ago today, like a little bit more than a year ago. Um, there was a tweet about something, and Chris D'Elia, who I only knew because you like talked about him at the time, he quoted something like it was like a wrestling tweet. He quoted and he was like, "But it's still fake," and like I can read it in his voice now, but back then I didn't know, and so everybody in the wrestling Twitter was so mad about that tweet. They were like, "This guy sucks. He's like comedy is terrible. Like, what do you know? What do you know about wrestling? You know what I mean?" And like, I like everybody took that as like Chris D'Elia sucks. I took that as okay. I've heard of this guy. I'm going to use this as a chance to like see what this guy is about. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I like and I'm a huge fan of Chris D'Elia now. So it's something like that where it's like it's just like it's the joke at this point if someone says it, and I
Oh
don't
man,
know.
like imagine. I feel like the same people that say wrestling fake like has like a wearing a basketball jersey. I'm like, hey, wearing that MJ jersey is not going to make you play basketball better. That, that's fake too.
Yeah,
Like it's the same facade.
yeah,
Wearing Jordan is going to be like Mike. So relax. Let me wear my Undertaker piece. I know he's not dead. He lives in Texas.
yeah. Wait, he's not that.
So yeah, there you go.
I don't know, dude.
Yep.
That's like, I mean, if leave in the comments if like funny stories of like someone telling you it's fake because they were cables or there's padding or the ladders are plastic or foam or you know
Oh,
all
ketchup.
the
That's when I'm like, oh, uh-oh. I didn't know $1 billion company uses ketchup. They can't, you know, better visual effects like blood capsules, you dunce.
yeah.
Like you
They
think
cut their forehead.
simple-minded person they go to McDonald's and get ketchup packets. I feel like like an indie show would do that as a joke, just to,
Oh
like
yeah,
meme the world.
dude. It's like it's funny because um like when people would say, I'm trying to think of what I was gonna say, but I forgot. Ah, shoot, I lost my train of thought there. But it was good.
Get hot, but then after when it's in the moment, I will. You're not supposed. Don't get mad. Just yes and it, and run to the moon, and just like start. Just go with it. Just run with it.
And
You'll have the most fun.
and at the end of the day, like we got Mike Tyson and Chris Jericho in the ring. So
So is it really fake? And the
is it
best
really
part
fake?
is find out their favorite heroes love wrestling. It amazes them. Like,
Oh
oh yeah,
yeah.
LeBron's a huge wrestling fan too, right? But you worship him.
Everybody. At the end of the day, everybody is a wrestling fan. Like,
By the way,
even if they don't like wrestling, they like wrestling.
not fake. It's scripted, dude. Relax.
Oh God! All right, well that's where we're gonna end. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you again after a while.